Hi, thank you so much for clicking on this video. My name is Arlene and welcome to the channel. Today, I'm going to be sharing some of the things about the Philippines that I think are essential in your decision-making process of whether to relocate to the Philippines or not. I'm not here to burst anybody's bubble. I'm just here to give you a pragmatic view. I'm just going to be laying down the facts and the decision is entirely up to you. Because I don't know you. I don't know what you're willing to give up. I don't know what you're willing to put up with. So yeah, I'm just here to help you come up with a well thought out plan should you decide to relocate in that side of the world. Now, I'm not currently living in the Philippines. I am here in Washington State. I've been living here for 4 years, but I was born and raised in the Philippines and I lived there for 28 years. It's more fun in the Philippines. This was the tourism marketing campaign in the Philippines from 2012 to 2023. And as a Filipina myself, I definitely agree to this tagline, but to some extent. I'm also fully aware that what's fun for us Filipinos may be disturbing or annoying to those of you who are not immersed with our culture. One example of that is karaoke. In the Philippines, a celebration is never complete without singing our hearts out. Now you would think, what's the problem with that, Arlene? Let the people have their fun. Oh yeah, you're right. There should never be an issue, right? But I just want you to be aware that there are some Filipinos who love to crank up the volume of their speakers to the extent that you living next door, or even if you're like 10 blocks away, will have a hard time communicating or conversing in your own homes. And some of the neighbors as well would sing up to the wee hours in the morning, so forget about sleeping if there's celebration. Now you would think, it's not every day, so that's fine. Yeah, it's not every day, but it's not a rare occasion as well. Because if there's one thing you need to know about the Philippines, it is this: Filipinos are really good at looking for reasons to celebrate. We celebrate birthdays, anniversaries, graduation, town fiestas, etc. In fact, poverty in the Philippines can be attributed to this funness of celebration, because there are some Filipinos who are willing to get into debt just to impress other people. Because in the Philippines, when we celebrate, we just don't celebrate with our nuclear family. When you're talking about especially town fiesta, everybody is invited. Now you would be asking, Arlene, how would that affect me? How is this relevant to my decision of whether to relocate or retire in the Philippines? Well, if you decide to marry a Filipina and live near her family, unless you established boundaries early on in your marriage, you will be expected to fund for these celebrations. And aside from the financial aspect, I just want you to be aware of that when Filipinos gather, we tend to be loud. There will be lots of yapping. I don't know why is that even if we're talking to somebody just across us, feels like we're shouting at each other. But no, that's not. That's really, I would say, just that's our normal voice, and that's how we are when we're happy and excited. So if you're the kind of person who doesn't like idle conversations or annoyed with the noises, then let your Filipina know, because if she truly cares for you, she will not put you in a situation that will drive you nuts. Speaking of things that would drive you nuts, there's nothing more irritating than the roosters that will be screaming at you all day and all night. This is expected if you live in the countryside. And lucky you if you're not gonna be living next to a neighbor who is raising roosters for cockfighting. Because now we will be talking about 50 to 100 roosters screaming at you. How obnoxious would that be? So you'd probably think, okay, I'll just buy a property that's far or remote enough that I will be free from this noise pollution. That would be a good choice. But just keep in mind that when you pick this kind of property, there's a big likelihood that you don't have access to the city pipelines or electricity lines. And forget about streaming, because they're not gonna be good reception for the internet. So just make sure you have a budget for a deep well or a rain collecting system, a generator or some solar panels, and also for Starlink or a dedicated fiber optic line, and that can be expensive. And even if, let's say, you are connected to the city power lines or the city pipelines, I would still suggest that you have your backup generator, because in the Philippines, power interruption is very common. Power and water cost more in the Philippines. The reason why Filipinos have lower utility bill is because on average, Filipinos have smaller houses than the average American house. Now, if you decide to build your American house, your standard American house in the Philippines with all the conveniences that come with it, expect that you will pay more to run your house. Renting or buying a condo could be an option for you too. Just know that it'll be a smaller footprint than you are used to. And also, navigating around the city could be frustrating at times because of heavy traffic caused by narrower and fewer lanes. And on top of that, jeepneys, motorcycles, multi-cabs, and even pedicabs. And don't even think about doing your errands when it rains. If it's not dire, just put it off for a day or two. Because in the Philippines, even the slightest of rain could lead to flooding. And we tend to get a lot of rain in the Philippines because it's in the tropics. We tend to get a lot of typhoon in a year and monsoons as well. Philippines is still a developing nation. We don't have a well-established waste management system yet. And the infrastructure that we have in the Philippines is far behind than what you have in the West. And on top of that, there's a lot of Filipinos who are still irresponsible in taking care of their own garbage. That's why drainages in the big cities are clogged. And yeah, needless to say, fighting pollution in big cities is a lost cause. And you know what comes with pollution. If the surroundings is dirty, there will be rat infestation, there will be roaches. So yeah, if you live in the city, expect that you will see these creatures. Now let's have a deeper look at the Filipino people. Everywhere in the Philippines, you would be greeted with big smiles. For the most part, there's no discrimination in the Philippines. Most Filipinos are welcoming. Most of us are nice. But I said it, most. Yes, not all, because there are some Filipinos who are only nice to those that they can take advantage of and to those that they regard as attractive. Yes, and you as a foreigner, you have a bigger purchasing power, check, and you have sharp noses, you have lighter skin, you are attractive to Filipinos. So, of course, they will be nice to you. But for locals who are poor, have darker skin, and have nothing to show for, no degree whatsoever, some Filipinos are not kind to them. Some Filipinos discriminate them and look down on them. And I have several first-hand experiences on that before I became a CPA. So yeah, be mindful that there are people who are like that in the Philippines. So be careful who you wanna be friends with, who you will be investing your time and money with, because not everybody is really nice. Some are just pretending to be nice just so they can take advantage of you. But as soon as the gravy train runs dry, they will no longer be nice with you. In America, you have what you call Karens. In the Philippines, we call them Marites. These are people who love to mind other people's business. They love to gossip and spread rumors about somebody. They love to stir drama between neighbors. And be careful, you might be married to one. If your Filipina is from the province, and she doesn't have a job that would keep her occupied, more than likely she is a member of this organization. And worst, she might be doing this gossiping with her friends while gambling your money away. So don't get too excited to marry a Filipina from the province or anywhere else that don't show initiative to keep unemployment. But hey, why would they? When there's a lot of white knights online who are eager to help them or eager to support them. While I still believe that most provincial Filipinas are traditional and worthy to tie the knot with, I also do know that their number is getting fewer by the day because they are already given access to the internet and cell phones, the DICK homing device. It's revolting to see these women posing to be traditional when their actions prove otherwise. But hey, there are some men who are willing to settle with these kind of women. You do you. If getting your pee-pee wet is more important to you, then go ahead. Just don't come back at me bitching that Filipinas are just after for your money and that she dumped you after she found someone who is a bigger simp than you. And oh, I would be remiss if I failed to inform you about credit culture and how bad some Filipinos are with their money. Most Filipinos are still one-day millionaire. They live for the here and the now. What about bills? Oh well, they have this concept of like, oh, it's just 10 days away from now, and when that time comes, I have a sister that I can run onto. I have an American brother-in-law. I can ask for a loan. And if you do not put your foot down early on and establish boundaries, you will be bombarded with this loan request from family and even friends of your Filipino wife. If it happens that you give out credit, expect that you will never see that money again, or expect that you will have a hard time recouping that money. And if for some reason you fall on hard times, expect that not everyone that received your generosity in the past would help you, because there are some Filipinos who are just there for the good times but not there for the bad times. So as I've mentioned earlier, make sure that you are investing your time and money with the right people. Lastly, let's talk about the prices of goods and services. In the Philippines, manpower is cheap. You can get a house help for just $200 a month. And yeah, just be nice to them and they will really serve you. But just don't give out advances, because there are some Filipino, when they have received advances, sometimes they get tardy and will be unmotivated to work for you. So you will observe that they're gonna be absent. So if you can avoid, do not give out advances. Just pay them if you can on a daily basis if they can't really wait until the end of the month. How about food? If you're like my American husband who loves Filipino or Asian cuisine, you will love Philippines. There's a lot of options there. And when you go to a restaurant, your $20 will get you more than what you usually get here in the States. And on top of that, there's no mandatory tip in the Philippines. But if you're an American and you can't stand Filipino or Asian cuisine, then food would be expensive for you. Just like me here in America, Filipino food is expensive because anything imported is expensive. And also, there's only fewer places where you can get your American staples. Electronics and technology are more expensive in the Philippines. Also, I want you to be aware of that there are some establishments, hardware, and some appliance stores that charge a higher rate to foreigners than locals. They call it skin tax, so be aware of that. So if you decide to build a house in the Philippines, I would suggest just hire a contractor, so that way the price of the project is fixed. Or if you want to DIY, then let your wife do the canvassing. And then when you go there and actually buy the items and they'll give you a different price, then just walk away and source your materials elsewhere. In conclusion, Philippines is still a perfect place for someone who is willing to trade the modern conveniences over a simpler lifestyle and a slower pace of life. It is still a good place to look for a non-combative life partner. Just never lead with your wallet, because you will be attracting women posing to be traditional, but really they are 304s, and Philippines has no shortage of that kind of women. Remember, you get what you tolerate, and never allow anybody to reduce you to someone you are not. You deserve your standards. Elevate your standards. Men, do not settle for less. There are still good women out there. Go and find these women. I know it's not gonna be easy finding a good woman. Sometimes it would take some work on your part as well. You have to look internally and examine yourself and do the necessary changes if you must. But I'm telling you, it's really worth it. And my husband could attest to that. He used to be a MGTOW and now he is happily married. We have a daughter and we have a son on the way. Marriage is still worth it, everybody. And there's still good women out there. Just keep on looking, and I pray that you found the woman that God has intended for you. I wish you all the best. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up or share this to your friends, or if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel. I hope to see you again next time. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know what kind of videos you want to see in the future. And I thank you all so much for joining me today. Have a great rest of your day and believe that you have received it and it shall be yours. Peace out, you all.